Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 34 of our intentional time together during this Lenten season entitled Put It on the Altar. Friends, as you know, we are getting ready in just a couple of days to enter into Holy Week, and this time has gone by fast for us. But I'm grateful that we get an opportunity to slow down in the day, whether you watch it in the morning, afternoon, late in the evening, late in the midnight hour. Whenever you engage in this devotion, we're appreciative of your presence with us online. Join me today in Genesis chapter 22, verse 15. It says these words: "The angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your only son, I will surely bless you, make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore." Today, let's talk about keep listening. Yeah, keep listening. I want you to know that we serve a God who is active, alive, and audible. He is constantly present and engaged in the world around us. While it may sometimes feel as though we cannot trace his movements, hear his voice, or see his presence due to the limitations of our human understanding and perception, we can rest assured that God is always at work. His work is never confined to a single moment or an event, nor is he passive or inactive in his relationships with us. God is not stagnant or lazy or mute or silenced by the world. Instead, he is dynamically involved in every aspect of our lives, working continuously for our good and his glory. The assurance that God is always at work is often confronting, or rather it's always comforting, but it is also empowering. It means that the God who saves us, delivers us, and speaks to us is not a God of one-time action. He is not a distant deity who only intervenes in our lives for brief moments or during specific seasons. Rather, God is ever present, involved in the ongoing, everyday moments of our existence. He speaks not only in times of crises, but also in times of peace. He doesn't just intervene during moments of struggle, but he is present to guide us even after we have experienced triumphs, blessings, and breakthroughs. The work of God in our lives is not bound by our understanding of time or limited experiences. This ongoing activity of God calls us to listen attentively and to be discerning. If God is constantly at work, we must develop hearts that remain open to hearing from him, even after we have reached what we might consider completion. Too often we fall into a trap of thinking that once we've achieved a goal or received a blessing, God's work is finished in our lives. We assume that once we've passed a test, completed a task, or received what we asked for, that God has no more to say to us. But this is a misconception, friends. In truth, God's work continues even after we have reached what we perceive as a destination. It is not the end, but it is a new beginning. An invitation to hear from God again, to continue walking in faith and to remain open to further guidance. The story of Abraham and Isaac in Genesis chapter 22 serves as a powerful illustration of this truth. After Abraham and Isaac successfully complete the immense test of faith that God sets before them, they have given their all to what God asked. They had followed God's command with obedience, and they had journeyed a long way in trust with God. They have reached what seems to be the culmination of their trial and of their test. And yet, in Genesis chapter 22, verse 15, God speaks again. Despite the apparent conclusion of the test, God's voice continues to speak to Abraham, and he receives a new blessing. Abraham's openness to God's ongoing communication is crucial here. Even after experiencing such a profound moment of obedience and blessing, Abraham remains attentive and receptive to God's next move. This story challenges us to reflect on how we respond after we go through a test or after we receive a blessing from the Lord. Do we think we're finished with God once a task is accomplished? Do we think we're done once we receive what we prayed for? Do we assume that God is finished with us because we have reached a certain milestone in life? The truth is that God's involvement in our lives doesn't end when we reach a certain goal. After God blesses us with a new job, we still need his guidance and strength to maintain that job. After enduring a test of patience, we still need God to help us keep our composure and our endurance. After experiencing healing or recovery from surgery, we still need God to sustain our wellness and keep us whole. No matter how much we achieve or how many blessings we receive, God is still at work, actively guiding, sustaining, and refining us. His work in our lives doesn't stop on the other side of victory. It continues, shaping us and preparing us for the next season of our journey. Abraham teaches the importance of maintaining a posture of openness to God, even after we've experienced success or received blessings. He shows us that God's voice is not a one-time event, but an ongoing conversation that continues to shape and direct our lives. Likewise, we are called to remain vigilant in our faith, always listening to God's voice, always seeking his direction, and always expecting that he will continue to speak and work in our lives. Therefore, friends, I'm done. Let us not close our ears or close our hearts to God after victory or after blessings. Let us never assume that we're finished or that God has nothing more to say to us. The truth is, God's voice is alive and active, and we must remain open and ready to hear from him. Just as Abraham did, we should strive to remain in a place of readiness where we can hear God's voice and receive his ongoing blessings, even in the midst of all the other voices in our life. Friends, today we are challenged to learn to keep listening to God's voice. Continue to join us on our 40-day journey we've entitled Put It on the Altar. During this 40-day season of Lent, we continue to pray for one another. We pray over your life and pray that you have a great remainder of your day. We will see you on next time.